Question: in our city, there are a few youth who have rallied around the slogan "Ṣaʿāfiqah." They seek to gather innocent Muslims around this slogan and even form a muṣāfiqah-centric center. Can you explain what is said and what the scholars have said about it? As far as the term Ṣaʿāfiqah, أيها الإخوة, it is a term that has been used by some of the people of knowledge of the past, and it is a term that returns back to a number of meanings. From the meaning linguistically, it refers to linguistically to an individual who is or who goes to the marketplaces. He himself has no capital, has no wealth for trade. So he goes to the marketplace and he draws the traders, those who are seasoned businessmen. He remains close to them, and then he waits to see if he can get some scraps from some of the deals that these wealthy tradesmen make. He remains with them. He has no capital himself, but he hopes that with being in close proximity to the tradesmen and to the businessmen who are wealthy, that he may get something from the trade that they make, or he may be brought in as a middleman to govern between them, and that he receives something from that trade. That is the origin in terms of the general linguistic meaning of the sa'fuq. And he's the one who has no capital, but he goes to the market, stays with the traders, and tries to get some benefit from their trade. Its usage in deen terms is in relation to someone who is devoid of knowledge, a person who is jahil, but he feigns knowledge by drawing close to the people of knowledge. That is, he himself does not have ilm, but he draws close to the people of knowledge in the hope that with his closeness, that some of the title and the honorific mention that the scholars get, that he'll likewise receive. And so he is muta'alim, he feigns knowledge and feigns to be an alim, when in actuality he is sa'fuq, just like the guy who is in the marketplace, doesn't have any money, but he pretends to be a businessman with the hope that some people will believe that he is, and then he'll receive something from trade. Similarly, so firstly, we have the affair of jahl, ignorance. Secondly, we have a reference that some of the scholars mention, that it was a reference to some of the abid min al-a'ajim, that it was a reference to some of those who were slaves from the non-Arab. That this is one of its linguistic usages. Similarly, from its usage, and this is something, ikhwan, that many overlook, many of those who use it, that it was used to refer to people of hawa, to people of desires. From, or at the head of those people of desires that it was used to refer to, it was used to refer to the mu'attila, those who negate sifat. And Imam Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, when he used the term in his Nuniyah, he used it to refer to those who are ignorant mu'attila, ignorant and negators of sifat. Similarly, from the Salaf, are those who use the term to refer to ashabul ara wa ahlil ahwa, the people of ara, of strange opinions and desires, like Al-Imam Al-Sha'bi, the great Imam Amir ibn Sharahbil. Imam Sha'bi, he referred to, or he mentions a narration which in actuality Al-Imam Ibn Battah mentions in Al-Ibanatul Kubra. In Al-Ibanatul Kubra, he mentions the narration of Imam Amir, who said to Yunus ibn Ubayd on an occasion, he said to Yunus ibn Ubayd that verily once upon a time we used to love to sit in the masjid and we would recite to your father, to the father of Yunus ibn Ubayd. He said we used to recite to your father, but now in this time I would much prefer to sit on a pile of garbage than to sit in front of these Ṣaʿāfiqah. I would prefer to sit on a pile of garbage than to sit in front of these Ṣaʿāfiqah. Imam Ibn Battah rahimahullah ta'ala placed the affair under the chapter that relates to sitting with Ahlul Ahwa wal Ara, the people who have, or the people of desires and the people of strange opinion. So the term was coined and used by the ulama of the past. And they used it with Ahl Bid'ah and with Ahl Jahl and those, ayyuha al-ikhwa, who opposed the method and the path of the ulama of Sunnah and Hadith. And on that basis, the term being used now to refer to people of Sunnah and Salafiyah is, as Shaykhana Shaykh Ubaid, Shaykhana Shaykh Rabi' has mentioned, is dhulm. It is to use the term oppressively. That is, al-dhulm, when adal is to put everything in its correct and proper place, dhulm is to put something and to apply something to that which is غير لائق به, to apply something to something that it doesn't deserve, or to a thing that doesn't deserve that thing. And so if I were to say, for example, that the term mu'tazila, who have a particular belief and follow a particular path, this term, therefore, for me to begin to use it with the brothers in our masjid, Salafis, brothers in our masjid that no longer come to the durus. They used to attend once upon a time, but now they make i'tizal of the durus. So we now refer to them as Mu'tazila. But we're speaking about Salafis. Linguistically, the term i'tizal means to refrain from, to distance oneself from, to be in seclusion and isolation away from something. Linguistically. Its usage in the deen is well known. And so our usage then, or our saying, these brothers, subhanAllah, Mu'tazila, and be aware of these Mu'tazila, and stay away from these Mu'tazila, and refrain from these Mu'tazila, and I warn you against them, then this warning of mine, ikhwan, is not in its place if we're talking about Salafiyun. If we're talking about people of Sunnah and Salafiyah, then to refer to them by way of a title they do not deserve is not in its place. And that is why Shaykh Rabi' has mentioned that to use this title to refer to them is dhulm. Firstly, because of the fact that they are not from the people of desires and bid'ah. Secondly, because of the fact that the term is in reference to people of ignorance, while these are people who, the people of knowledge, those who taught them, bear witness to the fact that they are bona fide students of knowledge. And so to use it, ikhwan, is to use a term out of its place. And thus, Shaykh Rabi' stood in defense of those who this term has been used against and has warned against using the term for people of Sunnah. Because the question that has to be asked is the one who is referred to as Sa'fuq, the one who, on those who are referred to as Ṣaʿāfiqah, and the ones who have received this staunch warning, the same warning that we would warn the people of Sunnah against Ahl Bid'ah, this same hadar. Are they Ahl Sunnah? Are they Salafiyun? Or are they Mubtadi'ah? Simple question. We must ask, do we consider them Salafiyun, or do we consider them Mubtadi'ah? Even if we were to say they're Salafiyun who have mistakes, do we consider them Salafiyun? That we believe they've got some issues, some mistakes. Are they Salafiyun, or are they Ahl Bid'ah? Are they Mubtadi'ah? If we're saying that they are Salafiyun, then with which usul and in whose athar and based on which narrations and which position of the Salaf were the people of Sunnah ever dealt with in that manner? warned against. Staunch warning. Stay away from them. Migrate from them. Boycott them. Don't sit with them. Don't listen to them. While they are actually tulab ilm, who the people of knowledge recommend and speak highly of. And then, if they are people of sunnah, then is this the way that we deal with? If they're people of sunnah that we believe have mistakes, is this the way that we deal with the mistake of the Sunni, of the Salafi? That we warn the people against them publicly, that we prevent people from sitting with them, that we're staunch against them? Or is the Sunni advised? Is he sat down? Do we show him his mistakes and wait for him to change and rectify himself? That is how we nu'amil the Salafi. If we believe he has a mistake, if he's Salafi, if we consider him Salafi. And if we consider him or we believe that they are mubtadi'ah, then the issue is establish for us the mukhalafat of the usul. Establish for us oppositions to the fundamentals of Ahl Sunnah. And we don't want to see a tweet that a person made a comment of, and we're going to attribute the comment to the person who we're accusing of being sa'fuq. The comment is the comment of the one who commented. Yani, let us have some clear-cut, undisputed evidence of their opposition to the usul of Ahl Sunnah, and then them remaining obstinate and continuing upon those mukhalafat after they were advised and after they were corrected. And so if we do not have those usul that they have opposed, clear-cut evidences, then we must fear Allah Azza wa Jal in relation to the people of Sunnah, whether we're dealing with the alim or we're dealing with the general person, ikhwan, the illiterate Salafi. Do not give them except the titles and the rulings that they deserve. And we are not oppressive with them. We give them that which they deserve, and we refrain our tongues from applying to them or from putting and placing upon them so that they do not deserve and do not befit them. Allahu ta'ala a'lam wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barak ala nabiyyina Muhammad.